All right. Okay.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning. Yes, good morning. Still, members are joining the class. That's why I am delaying the class. We are starting soon. Please wait for some more time. I hope everybody is fine.
Yes, sir.
Yes, okay. See, whenever you start OET preparation, I have always noticed people complaining that the moment they start OET preparation, some kind of problems will start. Some kind of, disturbances will be there always. It is not only with the OET preparation, any kind of preparation, this really happens. So one thing I can tell you is since the day you start preparation, you have to make praying a habit. Praying is very important. Pray to God so that you will stay strong in your decision, and you will be able to face all the problems that you're going to really face during this time. Okay, praying is very important. All right, so now we can start the class. I think we are ready for starting the class. So today is the first day of this week, and this week is the last week of May batch. This is the last week of May. Okay, so if there is anybody here who is going to join this class, if anybody is there who is planning to join the June batch, this class or the recorded video, this class is being recorded. So the recording will be provided in the group, and this is a way for you to start the June batch. You have to watch this video completely till the end so that you will understand that. Okay, so the most important part of our training is writing. And the writing we are doing with a very easy method, which is involving 5 steps. 5 steps means the first one is known as marking. The second one is known as elimination. The third one is known as the third one is known as launching of the letter. And then there is opening of the letter. Then there is narration of the letter. And then finally, we have got the signing of the letter. These are the 6 steps of writing a letter. If you follow this method, anybody can write any letter without any confusion. It can be doctors, it can be pharmacists, it can be nurses, it can be anybody. Anybody can write this. So I repeat, watching this video till the end is very important for those who are planning to join the June batch. It is very important for you. Okay. And also remember, today at 6 p.m. It's very important. I have already told you, 6 p.m. Indian time, we'll be having a special session which is meant for the beginners and for the existing members. The beginners have to see, basically the 6 p.m. Session will be having a test paper or an exam. We are going to have an exam at 6 p.m. and this will be having 50 questions and 50 marks, and you have to score 30 out of 50 in this exam. Only then you will be able to join the June batch. Okay, and at the same time, if you are an existing student, to go to the next one, you have to score like 40 out of 50 is mandatory for all the existing members to go to the A group. So those who pass in this one with the 30 marks, they will go to June batch and they will enter group B. Remember this, group B. Okay, and those who score 40 out of 50, they will definitely go to group A. Group A admission is possible only for those who have completed at least 1 month of group B. Others cannot enter the group A. And I tell you, those who reach group A today, you have 2 options. One is you can book your exam. Okay, you can book your exam, or you can continue in group A. You have to complete your group A. 1 month group A preparation is required for you, especially if your writing and speaking are not up to the mark. So I'm telling all the existing members, you have to score 40 out of 50 on today's exam, tomorrow's exam. I mean, all the 5 days of exams, Monday to Friday, you have to score a minimum of 40 and up to 45 is the best one. Okay, 40 is okay, that is minimum, but 45 is the most recommended number, so that you can join the A group and you can start your preparation. I mean, you can get your personal training from that day onwards. Okay? So this is what I want to tell you about the preparation. Okay, so to the beginners and to the the existing members, I have clearly told you what you have to do. Beginners, you have to attend all these 5 exams: today's, tomorrow's, day after tomorrow's, and Thursdays and Fridays, and you have to score 30 out of 50. The questions and everything will be clearly given to you. Okay, so you have to follow all the instructions, and you can watch the video again and again for that. Now, that's very clear to you. And about writing. Writing is the area where most of our students pass every time. Usually nobody fails in writing. But there are, of course, there are chances some people even fail also because of this reason, elimination reason. Okay, now let me just make it very clear to you what is marking. Now, those who have the booklet with you, booklet number 6, MELONS booklet, please take it and keep it in front of you. You have to keep the printed booklet in front of you. It's very important. Those who do not have the booklet, don't worry. You can look at this screen. And please take your pencil and a notebook. Please take a pencil and a notebook. Please take your note and a pencil. Okay. And those who have the booklet, you have to mark on the booklet itself. You have to mark on the booklet itself. Those who do not have the booklet, you have to write down. So marking, we are going to start marking on the day of the examination. Also, you have to do this one. Everybody, you have to do this marking on the day of the examination. It is mandatory for you. So what is marking? What are you going to mark? I'm going to show what you are going to mark. You're going to, first of all, mark the patient's name. First, you have to mark the patient's name and age. These 2 things are to be marked first. Where do you find that? Patient's name is mentioned here. Where is it mentioned? Martin Wilson is the patient's name. Yes, Martin Wilson, and age is also mentioned here. You have to mark this one at the starting. Okay, this is known as marking. Here we have got the first one. After this, you have to directly, you have to go to the next area. I'll show you this entirely. 1 second, please. Milka, I don't know whose it is. Somebody's, some kind of disturbance is there. I don't know. It's not Milka's, somebody else. Okay, anyway, please mute your mic completely. It is very important. In case you want to talk to me anytime during this class, always you are welcome to speak, no problem. But after speaking to me, as in every other online class, you have to mute your mic and to make sure that everybody is experiencing a good class experience, and it should not be hampered because of your carelessness. Okay, be careful. Okay. Now, see, we have just noticed this one. We are going to we are going to mark this one. Usually, you take only less than 5 minutes for marking. Can I ask somebody who did this marking? How many of you had done the marking of this one earlier? Will you please raise your hands? Those who have completed the marking perfectly? Yes. Mahalashmi, how much time did you take for marking?
I took 6 minutes, sir.
6 minutes, okay. And Lichina, yes. How much time did you take for marking? 5? 5 minutes, okay. Usually, 5 minutes is best for this one. So, just like I told you, it is like somebody who is in a kitchen. Suppose, see here. Suppose Anaka is entering her kitchen. Anaka knows where the tea powder is kept and coffee powder is kept and the sugar is kept and the salt is kept and everything. So if you know where something is kept, you will be an expert. You can make. Otherwise, if Anaka is entering somebody's kitchen, Asha George's kitchen, because Asha asked her to prepare some food for her family because Asha sorry, Anaka is out of town, something like that. Okay, so there she will have a lot of difficulty finding each and everything. So you should be like, you should know certain things to be kept. Where is the tea powder? Where is the coffee? Similarly, please look at this one. Everybody, please look at the screen. You have to mark only these things. What? Only these things. PP, RR, AA, 5 times D, and WK. Only this much. You have to mark only these things. PP, RR, AA, 5 times D, and WK. I think many of you know what it is. Most of you know this one. There may be some of you who are new. For them, I'm telling you, the first one is patient's name and age. Second one is purpose of writing the letter. Third one is recipient's name. Yeah. And then the fourth one is the request. And then admission condition, admission date, discharge condition, discharge date, date of writing the letter, and whether the patient is diagnosed or not diagnosed, and the direction. Direction means A to B, like ABC, ABA, and ABB. There are 3 kinds of directions. Direction means from where the patient is coming. Suppose the patient is coming from A. The patient is coming to your facility. Okay. So the patient is coming from home and coming to your facility, and you are sending the patient back to the patient's home. That is known as ABA. Or the patient is coming from an old age home, coming to your facility where you are working, and you are sending the patient back to the old age home. That is also ABA. And this is usually all the ABA directions are known cases, because you are sending the patient back to the same person, so they know more about the patients. Sometimes a patient comes from A source, B your place of work, and you are sending the patient to a different facility for further assessment and management. That is ABC, and most of the ABCs are what? Unknown cases. And there is another one, ABB. That is the third one, and that is another important one. The patient, as usual, the patient is coming from patient's home or from an old age home or somewhere else, and coming to your facility, and you are transferring the patient to another department of the same facility, ABB. Okay, B and B are in the same hospital. Okay, so from one department of the hospital to another department of the hospital, that is called direction, and that is D5. And then finally we have got W and K. W and K means writer, and whether it is a known case or a not known case. These are the Pradok, or these are what you call the marking. You should be able to know where each of these things are kept. You can now just watch here. Just somebody please come forward and tell me, like anybody wants to say which one is the. So we have first marked the first one, that is the P is mentioned here. Now we have to go to the P2. Where is the P2 found? Basically, we always find the P2. Yes. P2 will be usually found in this area. Purpose will be usually found in this area. If the purpose is not found here, you can find the purpose in this area, somewhere here.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I hope you're listening to me. Okay. Okay, right. And then PP are done. Then the next one is R1 and R2. R1 and R2 also will be found somewhere very close to the same place, like a recipient. And who is a recipient? You're writing to the social worker, that is the recipient, Miss Jennifer Adams. And who is she? Who is a social worker? Okay, recipient. And then we have got another one, which is request. Mostly after this one, we find the request in this area. Requests are usually found in the discharge plan. Okay, all these things are the request here. R2 are here. So see, just like I told you, you should be like a somebody who knows where the tea powder is kept, where the salt is kept, where the sugar is kept, where the spoons and forks are kept, where the knife is kept, where the, I don't know, all those things are kept. You should know that. And these are the request areas. Okay, so we have seen PPRR. Now AA, where is the A? After this, we have to directly go to the admission condition and admission date. Where do you find the admission condition and admission date? From here, we move to the next one, that is admission condition and the admission date will be mostly found in this area, admission condition and admission date. Here admission date is here, and admission condition you will have to find it out somewhere else. Okay, there is an attempted suicide, overdose of Mogadon. Okay. Okay, so there was a spelling mistake, I think. It is L instead of N there. There is something, no such chemical like Mogadol. I think it is Mogadon. Okay, I'm not very sure about that. It is a spelling mistake committed by everybody. So I also repeated the same spelling mistake. Okay, fine. If anybody knows that there is anything like, any such medicine called Mogadol, you can just tell me. Is it something like that? Do you know something like that? Is Mogadol is something like a overdose medicine ending with the L? I think you can find it out later on Google. You can find, or you can find out from your own experience. You can find it out. So we have completed PPRRAA. Now we have to move to the D1 and D2. Where is D1 and D2? You have to find out the discharge condition. Is the patient ready for discharge? Is the patient ready for discharge?
Tomorrow. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So discharge, where is that? Where is that? In which area can you find that?
In starting paragraph, sir. Discharge date 20th May 2023.
Where is that? Okay, discharge date is here. Okay. Okay, fine. Discharge date is here. Discharge date is very clearly mentioned there. And what is the condition of the patient at the time of discharge? Discharge condition. Can somebody say? Is he recuperating?
Recuperating from overdose of Mogadon.
Okay, correct. So always remember, whenever a patient is transferred and discharged, there are two conditions are here. You have to first of all see whether the patient is being discharged or transferred. All the patients are not discharged all the time. Some patients are transferred, some patients are discharged. And discharged means the patient is going home, and transferred means the patient's diagnosis is not complete or the treatment is not progressing. So you're transferring the patient to another facility. And one thing is very important, even before transferring, you have to discharge. That means in every letter, there is a discharge there. Without discharge, you cannot do any kind of you cannot proceed with any other things in that case. So we have seen almost everything here. D1, D2, and now we have go to D3, D4, and D5. What do you mean by D3? D3 means the date of writing. Is the date of writing same as discharge date?
No, sir.
No, there is a 1 day.
Yeah,
there is 1 day break there. Okay, so many people think that discharge date and date of writing are the same. Sometimes OET will try to confuse you. Remember, D3 is a very important one. I have noticed that more than 80% of the letters are having D2 and D3 will be same, but OET will not give you very easy letters. To confuse you, they will give you some more complicated letters. So we have seen D1, D2, D3. And what is D4? Is the patient's condition diagnosed?
Diagnosed, sir.
Yeah, the patient's condition is diagnosed. Yes, really.
Yes.
Patient's condition is diagnosed. And now, what is the last one? D4, D5?
Direction, sir.
Direction. What is the direction? Where is the patient coming from?
From his home, sir.
And where is the patient going back now?
Another facility, sir.
Is he going to another facility or is he going home? That is very important. Are you sending the patient to the social worker's place?
Yes, sir.
Going home.
Tell me.
Going home, sir.
He's going home, right? Yes, you can look at this one. Look at the writing task area.
Sir, we are getting the.
Yeah.
I got confused, sir. We are getting opinion, or we are going to transfer.
So we are writing this letter on 19th and patient is going not discharged. Patient is there in the hospital only.
The patient is still in the hospital. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Tomorrow he's going to be. Tomorrow he's going to be discharged. Okay. And usually in the cases of social workers, do you think that we are sending the patient to the social workers clinic or something like that?
No, sir. Patient will go at home.
So social workers basically come to your home. So that means you are sending the patient back to the patient's own home. Okay, so we have got almost everything, and the last two things are remaining. So what is a D5? D5 is AB,
Direction.
ABA. It is ABA only. It is ABA. Okay. Okay, ABA, but the recipient is a new person, so you can call it like ABC or ABA. A little bit of confusion can be there, but still the patient is really going back to the patient's own home, and that is very important. It is an ABA letter. ABA letter. Okay, right. Okay. Now we have got the last two things, which are the W and K. What is the W here? Who are you?
Right.
No, sir.
Okay, where is it mentioned? Is it mentioned anywhere?
No.
No. So we have to, since it is a letter for nurses, okay, because here in the very clearly you can see here in this area, you can see here on the first page, please look at this one. Nursing is very clearly mentioned. So you are a nurse, and of course to work in those countries you should be a registered nurse. So you are a registered nurse or a charge nurse. You can write anything. Sometimes OET will give things, but sometimes OET will be silent about something, and you have to apply your common sense. That's all. And then finally, is it a known case or a not known case? Does the social worker know the patient?
Not known case, sir.
Unknown, sir.
It is a
Unknown
totally unknown
case.
case. These are the things that you have to find out at the starting of the letter. Please, everybody have a look at this one now. Everybody have a look. Now you have completed the Pradoc. Pradoc, nobody can forget this one. Everybody remembers Pradoc now, and we have done the marking part with Pradoc. See, remember, we have done marking part with Pradoc. Now, second part, which you have to complete within another 5 minutes, or some people are able to do it within 3 minutes, and some people are able to do this within less than 5 minutes. A total of this much time is to be wasted during the examination. And I know some of you are not going to waste that time. You are not going to trust me completely. You are thinking this way, already we have no time for writing the letter. And are you asking us to spend an extra 4 minutes? My God, you are saying that way, right? But see, you have to change your attitude. You have to change this one. Please trust somebody. You have to trust somebody. Okay, so Pradoc is to be done within 4 minutes or 5 minutes. And elimination can be done within 3 to 5 minutes. Even if you take 5 plus 5, 10 minutes, still you are not at all in any kind of risk here. After that, after completing elimination, we can start launching. And today, as you know, on Monday, we are discussing only marking and elimination. And tomorrow we are going to mention launching and opening. Launching is all about DATS, which you will see later on. DATS means, what is DATS? It is all about writing the date, address, dear sir, and subject, which is RE. You know this. Yeah, RE. We will be seeing it tomorrow, not today. Okay. And then opening paragraph. Everybody is writing a lot of mistakes in opening paragraph, but we have 3 methods to write opening paragraph. Tomorrow we are going to discuss that, and that is known as PRPDD. PRPPD. So just write the patient's name. So even now people are writing letters like, I am writing this letter to introduce, I am writing to refer this patient. See, all these unnecessary words are being used by many people even today also. So PRPPD means just write the patient's name. If the patient's name is Benny Sebastian, Miss Benny Sebastian, yes, requires, yes. What is the purpose? Write the purpose. Urgent assessment and management, full stop. Now, what is her present condition? Just write those 2 things. She is recuperating after whatever, okay, angioplasty, and is being discharged today. Discharge condition and discharge date. See, once again, Miss Benny Sebastian requires what?
Sir,
yeah.
Follow care or urgent assessment and management, sir, in that request.
In this case, it's a different one. I'm talking about a general one. I'm just giving an example only. Okay. In this case, we will be saying what is the exact one, and discharge condition and discharge date. Whatever is the condition, that should be the line. I have seen many people writing unnecessary things which are really and directly and immediately going to get to lose the score. So we have to follow the PRPPD method only. In case if it is an it is something like you have already contacted the recipient, then simply write this one. Thank you for seeing Miss Benny Sebastian. Thank you for seeing Miss Benny Sebastian. Then continue the same thing, who requires whatever. So this is known as TPRPPD, and there is another one, UPRPPD. UPRPPD is whenever the recipient is known to you. That means whenever the patient is known to the recipient, that is a known case. So that is update. This is to update the health status of Miss Benny Sebastian, who requires same thing. No change. So rather than taking a risky thing, you can go with these three methods and you will never commit a mistake in this one. After that, we have got the narration part. And the narration part, we are using DR, or diving and rising. We will have to discuss this one tomorrow only. Day after tomorrow. And the signing. Signing is all about the closing of the letter, and that is known as, yours sincerely, charge nurse, or yours faithfully, charge nurse, whatever you want to write. That is called signing. So altogether, we have got all these methods, and today we are going to discuss marking and elimination. Marking is almost done, and we have to eliminate some of the unnecessary details from this letter. Let's discuss the elimination of this letter now. Now, see, as I told you, elimination is an area where only you can do that. Trainers basically cannot help you, especially when the trainer is not from the medical background, people like myself. Okay, so you have to decide what is to be included and what is not to be included. To whom are you writing this letter?
Social workers.
Okay, and is the patient having diabetes mellitus?
Yes, sir.
Is his present condition, or the depression and all these gambling things, is it because of diabetes mellitus?
No, sir.
Is it because of psoriasis?
No.
No.
Maybe.
Maybe,
Yes.
can be.
Semi. Yes,
Can
sir.
be, okay.
Yes.
But of course, it's not a very, okay, fine. There can be a possibility. Okay, yeah, we don't know when psoriasis was diagnosed. Okay, but there is no mention like it was because of his physical condition that he started gambling. Okay, probably. Anyway, so since the social worker is concerned only about the patient's social part or the psychological part, the gambling or those things, not the medical part, we have to be very careful about one thing. 80 or 90% of importance should be given only to these things, only these social and the gambling, the psychological things. At the same time, at the end of the letter, somewhere you can mention that he was also diagnosed with this one and he is being treated for this one. Okay, diabetes and psoriasis, you can mention that, but never mention those things at the starting of the letter, because the social worker is not even going to administer any medicine for that. And the social worker is also not going to, diagnose the patient. It is none of the, the activities made by a social worker, that. Social worker can, in case if the social worker finds it is an extreme level of depression or something like that, then only a psychiatrist is required here. Now it is just all about a social worker. So remember, always remember, whenever you deal with the case notes and remove the unnecessary details, you have to be careful about that. Now I am going to ask you, in this area, can you remove anything from this one?
No, sir.
Yes, sir. In research plan, sir.
I'm asking about the second, the middle part of this one in this area. Name, this is important.
No.
Age is important. Admission date is important. So without
Everything
these things,
important.
everything is important. Highly important area. Okay. Now I'm asking you, can you remove something from here, or is it important
So
to mention?
bronchitis and underweight we can remove, sir.
Bronchitis and underweight. Okay, underweight. Okay. So the social worker is not basically going to work on that. Even if he's going to work on that, everybody understand this one. Anyway, the social worker is going to meet Mr. What's his name? Martin. Okay, Mr. Martin Wilson. And he will meet, and on meeting anybody can understand a person is underweight or overweight, because his size may be small at least, right? Okay, so 66. And in this situation, the body mass index is not really important for his treatment or his, okay. At the same time, heavy smoker. Do you want to mention heavy smoker in this case?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Because they will give psychological support when they are giving
Okay, okay, fine.
a
Okay,
smoking session also.
okay.
Yes, sir.
So you can. So these are the two areas which I and you think are not important one. We can remove this area. So your ability to remove or eliminate unnecessary details is a very important part of your OET letter writing skills. Without this, you cannot. So you have to be very good. So here you have to use your medical knowledge and your common sense. You have to only ask one question. What is the patient's condition? Yeah, this is a patient's condition. What is the purpose of writing this letter? Yes, this is the purpose of writing this letter. And who is a recipient of this one? It is a social worker. Okay, then we have to give more importance to the social history part. But remember, sometimes or most of the times, even the medical part will also become important. Why? This is something which many of you do not know. If a patient's social problem or the psychological problem is deriving from his medical problem, for example, he's having a deformity of the body. He's having some kind of deformity of the body due to I don't know much about psoriasis. Is psoriasis able to create any kind of, deformity of the body?
No, sir. Body image. It is a skin disease.
Okay, so but still it can create a kind of deformity, right, of the skin?
Yes, sir. Depression might
Yes,
be.
it can.
Yeah. So since psoriasis can make a person depressed, and that depression can lead to gambling, see, there is a connection. Since this connection is not mentioned here, we cannot even connect also. So we have to be careful about that. Because a patient is going from a hospital and the hospital does not say that this is having any connection, then why should you worry about that? Why should the social worker worry about that? Of course, we can mention this psoriasis in the last part of this one. How will you notice this? How will you write these two things? Kindly not, yeah, kindly not. Mr. What's her name? What is his name? Wilson. Wilson was diagnosed with psoriasis, or you can simply write, since the diagnosis date is not mentioned, has had, because it is a kind of it's a chronic condition, has had. So wherever there is a has had psoriasis and diabetes mellitus. Is there any mention from where, from what time onwards? Is there something like since?
Sir, diabetes recently diagnosed. That means after admission, psoriasis. Already he was taking the medicines, own medicine. They have mentioned like that.
When he is admitted at that time only, it is disclosed that he is diabetic.
Okay, he's diabetic. Okay, right. Okay, in that case, then we cannot add the diabetes in this case. Okay, so because it should be something like a chronic condition. Probably he has had, but we don't know for how long he has had this one. Has had psoriasis is enough here. Okay, has had psoriasis and is recently diagnosed. Even that is also not correct one. You can just have this one. Okay. So then where will you mention this this diabetes here? That can be mentioned somewhere in the second paragraph itself. We can mention that one. We'll go back to that one later on. Let's look at this area now. In the social history area, is there something that you want to remove, please? Anybody? We are discussing this elimination because
So 2 married daughters and 5 grandchildren, sir.
2 married daughters and 5 grandchildren. Okay.
Commonly, we can say that he's staying along with his family, wife and family, like that.
Yeah, 2 married daughters and.
No need to mention the name of the child.
Okay. Okay. So, are you going to include this one, this 2 married daughters and 5 grandchildren?
No, sir. We can remove, sir.
Why can't we write something like this one? Although he has a big family with wife, children and grandchildren.
So married daughters may be living separate, no, sir?
They can be, okay.
With, yeah.
Although he has a big family with a wife, children, and okay, and grandchildren, full stop, oh, sorry, comma. Okay, in some cases we can write, it is unknown why Mr. Wilson had become what?
Depressed and
Depressed, yeah.
happy.
In certain cases,
Yes.
not in this case, because we are not asking him, okay. So it is not very necessary to include this one, but it is your own common sense, you can include that one. Okay, now I'm leaving that, and retired 2 years ago, bookkeeper with a Holden. Okay, so definitely we don't have to mention that he was a bookkeeper, because bookkeeper and this condition, oh no, there's something like, okay, so retired 2 years ago, is it important?
Yes, sir.
Retired, we can take.
Yes, sir.
We can,
Yes.
yeah. Probably
So that's
all these
it.
problems started. Yeah, all these problems started because he was always occupied with his job, and now after retiring, suddenly he became lonely something, or he had no other work. That's the reason why he went for. And when a person retires and his steady source of income also is limited here, he'll be only getting some kind of pension. So that could be the reason why he went for gambling, right?
Yes, sir.
Can be, okay. So you have to think a little bit more about this one. Lives with wife Joanne and adult son in housing trust Elizabeth. Okay. So the address is somewhere here. You'll be finding the full address later on. Are you going to include the address or not?
No, sir, no.
Then how will he visit the patient? The address is
We have mentioned.
yeah, address
already.
is here. Address is at the end. If you go to the last part of this page, you can see the address here.
So we can attach here
Yeah.
with address. Like
yeah, you
that.
can
We
attach it.
write.
Okay, you can attach. Usually attachment happens, okay, when the address is too long. Remember, you can use the word, it has been enclosed. You can use the word enclosed. Enclosed is used when the address is a very long one, okay, and the letter has already exceeded 200 words. In that case, only you need to enclose medicines or the address. Otherwise, if the letter is a small one, you can write the full address. You can, like, his home address is whatever. Okay, write the home. Okay, if the letter has already become a big letter, then you can write his home address is being enclosed herewith. That's enough. Enclosed herewith. In some of the ways, you have to mention that. You cannot miss that at all. So remember, when the recipient has to visit the patient's home, like home care, social workers, and all those cases, when the recipient has to visit the patient's home, you have to herewith. Okay, this is important. Either you can write like enclosing way, or you can write the full address or the full medicine details you can mention. Okay, this is what you can include here. Anything else you want to remove from here? The wife's name is not really very much important, but sometimes we can include the wife's name. You know why? Now, suppose you are the social worker. You have to contact this Mr. Martin. How will you contact before coming? Suppose you lost the route map or something. You were not able to reach the patient's home. So what will you do? You need a phone number, right? Is there any phone number mentioned here?
No,
sir.
sir.
Okay,
sir.
since if a phone number is mentioned before starting from your own place, you can ask, hello, yes, is this Miss Joanne, wife of Mr. Wilson? Yes, ma'am, I'm just on the way. I'm just coming to meet your husband. Okay, something like that. Okay, so in this case, since there is no phone number given, we cannot call. And in that case, we can avoid the name of the wife also here, right? Why? Because Anyway, the phone number is not given. You will reach the patient's home. Definitely, she will self-introduce herself to you. Then you will understand her name. That's enough. So at this point, the name is not important. I think this is a deeper evaluation, right? Did you think that way before? Anybody? I think some of you thought that way before, right? Okay. Now, wife works at calls, son unemployed. Are you going to include this one?
No, sir, no.
This one has no connection with his present condition.
So son
Son
unemployed,
employed.
that means he is a breadwinner of the family and he has to spend the money with his family.
Yeah, and wife is a breadwinner of the family, works at calls, and son unemployed. So, like son unemployed, do you
But
think that
they are
the
not mentioned the son's age, sir. We
son's
don't know
age?
that. Yeah.
No.
Anyway,
If
they
the-
did not mention the research plan about his
Mhm.
son.
Okay, but still, like we have to find out all the psychological reasons of this man becoming a gambling and depression. Everything, even the suicide attempt also started or happened because of this gambling. And the gambling happened because of what? Probably after his retirement, and then the family may be having some kind of financial issues. Son is unemployed. See, if the son is only 5 years, nobody is going to write son is unemployed. That means if they mention son is unemployed, it is very clear that the son is of the age of working. Okay, that means at least 20 years or 18 years. So that's very clear. So son's age is not important here. Otherwise, they will never write. If the son is 5 years, son not going to school, we can write. If the son is like 1 year, if it's a baby, then like we can say the baby, it doesn't the baby has breastfeeding problems, something like that. So since unemployed is mentioned, it is very clear that the son is of the age of getting employed. That's not out about that. Okay, so we have to write everything, okay, which can lead to his present problem. So we want a solution for that. And remember, a social worker is next to a psychiatrist or a psychologist. First social worker, then psychologist, then the psychiatrist comes. If the social worker thinks that he cannot deal with the situation, then he will find a psychiatrist or a psychologist for the patient. This is it. So social worker is a beginning stage for the psychiatry and further treatment and medication. So therefore, you have to tell most of those elements which may have resulted in his suicide attempt. So are you getting my point, all of you?
Yes, sir.
No, sir,
Okay.
social worker is not going to do anything. Actually, it is a sideline treatment. First, we have to approach to the psychiatrist in this situation. Wherever there is a psychiatric problem, we have to first approach the psychiatrist. And
I think,
social
Aditi-
worker is another problem.
Aditi, I think you didn't listen to me completely. Social worker is a beginner. He is going to be the mediator between others. If the social worker cannot manage, then he will be the one who will be finding a psychologist or a psychiatrist for him. And then later on, the further treatment will be started by those experts, not the social worker. He will be the beginner in this case. So just like I told you, so it is important to tell the social worker all those things which may have led to his committing a suicide here. I hope it is clear
Yes,
to you.
sir.
Yeah. So any
Social
other question?
worker
Yeah.
does the job of counselor.
Counseling, basically counseling and other things. And when things are going out of his control, definitely he will go to the psychiatrist and psychologist and other things. Okay. So now there are so many case notes. In all the case notes, somebody cannot give you the complete help to find out what is relevant and what is not relevant. You have to do that one. Now you have a very important task. After this class, I'll be giving you 20 points from this case notes. I'll be giving you 20 points. All you have to do is you just have to say which of them are relevant and which of them are not relevant. That will be your homework today. So you have completed this. Marking part is almost done and elimination part is going on. After this class, I'll give you around 20 points. You have to say which of them are mentioned and which of them are not mentioned. Every Monday, we are going to have this one. 20 or 30 points will be given. And based on the case notes and the situation, you have to remove some of the information from that. You have to say which of them are mentioned. So, for example, number one, you have to say number one, relevant. If you think the number two is irrelevant, okay, irrelevant, you have to write that. All of you have to write this one. There will be 20 or 30 questions will be there. You have to complete that. That will be your first homework today. Sorry, that will be your first task today. You have to complete that. Okay. Now, going to the next one, gambling history. No, 1 second, please. We have got something to remove from here. Used to be a keen lawn ball player. Are you going to include this or not?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Important.
sir.
What is the
Yes,
reason? Can somebody tell me what is the reason for that?
It should
Important.
distract him from depression. It elevate his mood.
Yeah, and there is
Encouragement in
also,
This is
social
a main
sporting
problem,
activities.
sir, actually, for gambling.
is it a main one?
No, in that task
No,
they
no, no.
mention-
In
not
the task, it is
discharge
mentioned like,
plan. Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
Encouragement in social support. Anyway, this man is, I mean, he liked this playing, lawn ball. So the psychologist, sorry, the social worker can do something in terms of his condition by encouraging him. Okay, because he has to come back to the real normal self. He has to come back to the normal situation here. So this is what the social worker has to do. Now going to the previous one, regular social drinker. Are you going to mention this one?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
How will
sir.
the social
We
worker
have
deal
to-
with this one? What is it going to, how is it going to help the social worker? He's a regular social drinker.
So we can add one point to in the counseling, sir, to reduce drinking habits.
Actually, like we mentioned that he smokes excessively and he
Yeah.
is a regular
Along
social
with
drinker.
this,
Social drinker. Is social drinking excessive?
No, regular.
regular they have mentioned regularly.
Regular social drinker. Okay. Yeah, we can mention the smoking and drinking habits can be included in just one line. That's enough. Okay. Now, going to the gambling history. Going to the gambling history. Are you going to remove something from the gambling history area?
No, sir.
Depression related to gambling addiction. Began gambling 2 years ago. Important. Has lost a lot of money, including superannuation for in debt. And that is also very, very important because it is part of his present condition. Wife and family previously unaware of addiction, also upset about the suicide attempt. That's also important. Patient remorseful and ashamed. Yeah, at this point, he is really remorseful and ashamed. If the patient is ashamed of committing something, so it has got 2 points. He will commit it again. There is a recurrence in that one. Recurrence can happen, or he can even stop that one. These are the 2 possibilities. And the social worker's role is going to be here. This is a success area for the social worker. He can work in this area rather than working in this area. Okay, now going to wants to overcome addiction. He really wants, when the patient himself is willing to overcome the problem, so the social worker's work will be easy. Okay, has lost friends as a result of gambling. Okay, fine. So these points are important one, but maybe this can be removed, but it is not really very important point to remove. It can be included just like a semi-relevant information. We can include this also. That means gambling is a center of these case notes. So everything that is connected to gambling should be included. We cannot remove this. Going to the next one, nursing management. Tell me, are you going to remove some of them?
Yes, sir.
Which one?
BP.
BP, are you going to remove?
Yes, sir.
sir.
Wheelchair use.
Okay.
Wheelchair we can
Wheelchair.
add, sir. We can add.
I removed, sir, wheelchair.
You removed. Okay, fine.
So rices also I removed.
Yeah, this
So
is an
rice is
area
fine.
where some of the medical part can be removed or eliminated.
So poor appetite.
Poor appetite. Yeah, now it is
No,
difficult for
sir.
you.
I added because in depression there is poor appetite.
You added that one, okay? Poor appetite, physically unfit. But remember, they are important. They are important in depression, but we have to always think one more thing. Is this going to help the social worker? And one more thing, if I write these things, will this letter become very huge, very big? These two things you have to consider. First one, if I write something, will it help the social worker to manage his condition? Second one, will this letter become big or small because of that? You have to think that way also. Anyway, it is one of the, so I can conclude one thing. Writing a letter is very easy. With our methods, we can write a letter very easily. But deciding what is important and what is unimportant is a reason why many people are failing in OET letter writing. See, I know. Yeah,
Sir,
yeah.
we are writing
I
the
have
letter to
One
social
second.
worker, right? So
We are
is
writing
it
to a social worker.
important
Yes,
to,
yes.
yeah, is it important to describe all the medical details,
Not
like
important. Not very
adding the
important.
name of drugs and where she has
No.
the person has psoriasis and all? We can ignore all these points, right?
Mostly, I think many of you have removed the psoriasis from this letter here. So it is basically a social letter, not a medical letter. So you have to be careful about that. And one very important point is, if his medical problems were the causes of his mental problem, we have to mention. But there is no such a mention anywhere that it was because of his medical problems that he became mentally depressed. It was some other reasons. So give less importance to the medical part here. This is what I can discuss with you. So finally, before we leave this session, we have got our methods. The first one is, please look at the page. Please, all of you, please look at the page. We have the methods like here. We have the methods here. All of them here. Okay. So first one is marking. We do marking with the Pradoc. Second one, we have got elimination, and we were just doing elimination now. And we have the next one. After completing these two steps, we go to the launching part of the letter, and then we have to go to the opening of the letter, and then we have the narration part of the letter, and finally we have got the final signing of the letter. And this is known as the MELONS way of writing letters, MELONS. So you understand this and you will be able to. And elimination is one of the very difficult part based on your own medical knowledge. Please, that is the only thing I can help you. There is no other way to help you with. You have to use your common sense and medical knowledge. Whenever you write any point, you have to ask two things only. You have to ask two questions. Like, I mean, I'm talking about this one in the terms of elimination. Like, if I mention this point, will this help the social worker? Will this help the nurse? Will this help the doctor? Will this help the emergency doctor? We have to think that one. That is the most important one. If I mention this part, and another thing is, what is the present condition of the patient? What is the present condition of the patient? These two things are very important for your eliminating. I'm going to give you those 20 questions, which you have to say whether they are relevant or not relevant. And if you have any question, especially beginners, if there is anyone who is planning to join the June batch, you can stay here and ask questions. Others, please leave the class. All those who are existing members who have understood our methods, you can leave the class right now. Others, please stay here and you can ask me any questions regarding. Okay. Those who have understood, those who are the existing members who have completed at least 1 month of training, they can leave the class right now. Others, stay here and ask me questions.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, please.
Sir, I'm still confused about this ABA, ABC.
Okay, ABA, ABC. Okay, that is known as the direction. Okay, that's very important. See, suppose you're Lekha, right? Okay, right.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes.
Lekha, you are working in a hospital and your hospital is known as B. And a patient is coming from the patient's own home. A patient is coming from the patient's own home and the patient is getting admitted to your facility. And after 2 days, you are discharging the patient and the patient is going back to the patient's home. This is known as A, B, and back to A.
Okay.
Second one, A, B, C. That means very simple. A patient is coming from a facility or from the patient's own home, and patient is coming to your place, and you are transferring the patient to another facility. That means C. All of them are different. This is patient's home or a facility from where the patient is coming. It can also be from another hospital.
Okay,
A patient
sir.
is being transferred from hospital number A coming to hospital number B, and you are transferring the patient to hospital number C. All of them are different. This is known as A, B, and C. There is a third one, ABB. What is that? A patient is coming from anywhere, maybe from home, maybe from another facility, maybe an old age home, and then the patient is coming to your facility. Always B is your facility. You are working in that B only, always, no change. And you are working in the emergency room. Okay, you are in the emergency room of hospital number B, and you are sending the patient to the ward. From there, the patient is going to the ward. That means it is B2 and this is B1. So this is known as A, B, B, and the previous ones A, B, A, and A, B, C. These are the three kinds of directions. A,
Okay.
B. It's a very important one. Why is it important? If the patient is going back to A, it means 99% cases, it is a non-case. It is a non-case. Okay. And if the patient is going to ABC, most possibly, we are writing this letter to a doctor. Plus, one more thing, this patient's condition is not known. I mean, the patient's diagnosis is not done. These are the two cases. And when the diagnosis is not done, no treatment is also done. Treatment is also not done. So these things can be remembered. Okay. I think TDO confused about it. Okay, fine. So that is all about the direction part. Any other question, please ask me, because I know some of you are not very clear about our methods. Anybody can ask.
Sir, like there are 3 types in the letter, right? Or two, referral, discharge, and
No, there is only one kind of letter. It is a complete misunderstanding. There is only one letter, and every letter we are having RE, right? Do we have anything else? Okay. And what's the meaning of RE? We are referring a patient.
referral.
See,
Yeah.
you have got a patient in your facility. The patient's condition is was diagnosed and treated. The patient's treatment is done. What will you do? After the treatment is done, you will discharge, right? So
Yeah.
can we call it a discharge letter? No, it is also same letter. All the letters are same. Okay. So all of them are referral letters, we can say. So we are discharging a patient. So before discharging, what have you to do before discharge? You have to give provide all the treatment, right? Okay. After discharge, what will you do? You can transfer, right?
Yeah.
After discharge, what happens to the patient? Either the patient is being transferred to another facility or the patient is going home. But before these two steps, we have got one step known as discharging. Without discharging, giving the charge to somebody else, discharge. Okay, that's called the meaning. That is the meaning of discharge. Okay. So before that, discharge is always the first step. Then we send the patient to home or to the emergency department, and maybe to the patient's own GP. Okay, these kinds of transfers and discharges are there. So there is, and some people think that there is a letter known as on behalf letter. On behalf. I don't know why people are teaching this kind of nonsense. There is nothing like on behalf letter, please. Some people are asking there are 25 types of letters. My God. See, people will not understand these things. 25 types of letters. So I don't want OET. I'll be happy working in India. I am okay here. Okay, 24 kinds of letters. Nothing like that. There's only one kind of letter, and that is it. And you can write any letter with our MELONS method. Okay. Any other question, please? I think it's all clear to you. Please watch the video again and again. You will understand it much clearly. So today we were spending time on ME, tomorrow LO, and the day after tomorrow NS. That's end of this class. Bye-bye. See you.
Thank you, sir.
Right.